The government has reopened, yay! And the stock market's down, boo. Can't win them all, I guess. I'm just going to stick with my original plan, which was to dive into semiconductor stocks because the activity of AI stocks and tech stocks has been really interesting lately, and I want to look at a specific area now. So I've pulled up this website that I just found, stockanalysis.com, no affiliation or anything, and it's cool because you can search by sectors or industries, and here I found these semiconductor stocks. So I'm just going to look at a few of these that are interesting on the charts. I'm going to look at price action, market timing, and momentum because I'm HEMA ready and that's what I do. Let's dive in. Now, the biggest one in the list is Nvidia. I've commented on this recently, but I'll just point to it again. Currently, it is basically consolidating after trying to put in a low on November 7th. And technically, the forecast that I had out on the chart is still intact while we stay above the low from November 7th. If that gets taken out, then you got to regroup and rejig. All right, AVGO, Broadcom. Now, this stock has been working off overbought conditions since late October, and it's coming into a key support here at the October 9th low, okay? So while it stays above that low, there's room to potentially regroup higher. If it breaks below, how far might it go? Well, just looking at the most recent advance, we can map out what are the retracement levels. So retracements give you sort of these stepping stones of how much you are giving back of market gains or how much you're recouping of market losses if we were on the other side here directionally. So I'm looking at Gann retracements, okay? You can use Fibonacci levels, you can use whatever works for you. And it looks to me that that key low is real close to the 25% retracement of the move. Absolutely, here it is. So if I move the labels out of the way, you'll see what I mean. The key low is October 10th, 324.05. The 25% retracement is 324.33. So one is an actual traded level and one is a projected level. So that makes that area a more important support that I think could hold. We got to see what unfolds. All right, TSM, this stock is likely not on its way back to this forecast. It's still technically valid while we are above this low from November 7th, but I think this stock is actually weaker than I projected, meaning it's not going to get up to 302.85 before pushing lower. So how much might it retrace? Well, here we can look at a more short-term move. And we can see that 50% retracement is up at or below at 267.54. That might be a potential floor. So AMD has this big forecast, meaning it's a longer cycle out in play into December 30th. Technically, it's still holding. It's probably the stronger of the stocks we saw so far. I'd like to see continuation above the October 29th high to really fuel further upside. Micron is working off overbought conditions after having an RSI Power Zones peak back in September. And it's still rocketing higher. So this is an important reminder that when a stock or a market's strong, it can keep getting overbought, but price can still stay higher. So just because something gets overbought on momentum doesn't mean you stick your hand out and sell, okay? Also, let's look at the market structure underlying this. So there have been moves that end up creating sort of a repeatable pattern in how markets navigate themselves. So I call them drives. I actually get into this more in my missing trends strategy. And this has been really helpful to have perspective of where you are in a trend, okay? So if you think of this as a start of a move from August 1st, and then you apply the techniques of, well, what are the actual moves inside the trend? What I'm seeing here is that we have room for a little bit of a deeper pullback, but as long as we are above the low here from November 4th, there's room for Micron to resume higher, okay? But it's a bit like extended, and again, that's a look at my sort of trend segments and how I use that to assess where I am in a market. Okay, Qualcomm had a spike higher, maybe earnings related, but either way, it's pulling back and it's holding above this entire range of support from October 10th. That is a really important level to watch for multiple reasons. And so I think that we're probably going to head back towards 165.09 before resuming higher. Last but not least is Intel. And here, this one is also kind of doing, some might call this a head and shoulder, okay? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I'm not a big fan of that pattern unless it's over a long period of time, because that's how it was kind of developed in the early days of technicals. But either way, there's actually a bit of weakness that's starting to come in off of that. And it's coinciding with the return to bull support. So how do you reconcile that, right? When something looks like it's a topping pattern, but the momentum is getting back to a potential zone. Well, that's where you have to look for follow through. So simply just weakening here isn't breaking the bullish structure. If we look at the bullish structure on this stock, and you can do this for any stock, okay? It starts back at this low, which probably was August 1st. I'm just saying that based on everything else going on. Yep, August 1st, okay? Then the market had this gap higher, and then you can see here, made another higher low, made another higher low, made another higher low. And I'm just following my cursor. And you can see that even though there was consolidation here, the low from October 14th is holding the Intel uptrend in place. So that is going to be the decision area to see if shares break below that October 14th low or hold it and pick back higher. Watch that with how it behaves in the RSI Power Zones, and that's how you combine price and momentum. So that's my take on some semiconductors in action right now. The AI trade is still alive and well, but obviously it's going to have its ups and downs. So if you're finding value in this video, this look at these types of stocks, the lessons inside on the technicals and more, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.